The leader of Hamas is dead as the result of an Israeli military operation. We'll explain what that could mean for the war in Gaza.
A new forecast gives us an idea of what to expect as winter gets closer.
And there's a new place to have fun right here in Denton. I have more coming up.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Marshall Farmer.
And I'm Grace Grimes. Today, Israel's military confirmed the leader of the terrorist group Hamas has been killed. Officials say Yahya Sinwar's body was found in the rubble of a building in Gaza that was hit by an Israeli tank. Sinwar was one of the top planners of this terrorist attack that killed hundreds of people in Israel last October. It's not clear how his death will impact ceasefire and hostage negotiations. Today, Vice President Kamala Harris called for an end to the war in the wake of Sinwar's death.
This moment gives us an opportunity to finally end the war in Gaza. And it must end such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
Israel's prime minister says this is an important step toward bringing the hostages home, but he says the war in Gaza is not over yet.
Well, Grace, it is almost that time for Texans to go out to the polls.
I know, I almost forgot early voting starts next week.
That's right, it's so soon. And our very own Ben Wolf is here to tell us all about it. Ben?
Thanks, guys. Election season is in full swing, and it's time to get your votes in. With the 2024 presidential race picking up its speed as the year ends, early voting begins. Early voting will begin Monday, October 21st, and end on November 1st. Be sure to make your voice heard by heading down to the polls to cast your vote. In order to vote, you will be required to have a government-issued ID. You can bring a Texas driver's license, an election ID certificate, or an ID card from Texas. You could also use a handgun license from Texas, a U.S. military ID, passport, or a U.S. citizenship certificate. You can also go to the Gateway Center here on campus to cast your ballot during the early voting period. Now, one of the big races in this election is the U.S. Senate matchup between Ted Cruz and Colin Allred. The two men met for their first and only debate Tuesday night. They spoke about a number of issues, but the debate mainly focused around border security and abortion. Allred has made many criticisms of the Texas abortion ban, and it is a centerpiece of his campaign. He repeatedly pressed Cruz on this issue, and Cruz, however, attempted to draw connections between Allred and Vice President Harris, claiming his opponent was unlikely to win in a state that hasn't elected a Democrat in 30 years. But Democrats still view Texas as one of their few pickup chances this year and a crucial piece to winning the Senate. Election day is just 19 days away, and I'll have more political updates for you next week. For now, back to the desk.
Thanks, Ben. Now, we've been hoping for this for weeks now, Grace, but it's finally cooling down in Texas. I mean, I had to pull out the jacket this morning.
I know, I was so excited to wear my sweatshirt, but I feel like fall is kind of a month late. But let's take it over to our weather anchor, Aaron Erie, to see what the rest of today has in store. Aaron?
Thanks, Grace. Just a bit crisp stepping out of my house this morning on the way to classes. Our wind speed is going to be taking our actual temperature and keeping it concurrent with our feels like. This afternoon in Denton, Texas, it is 70 degrees and it feels the same, but as we dip into the evening, it's going to drop to 57 degrees. But then as we move on to tomorrow, it's going to warm right back up again, and it'll be 77 degrees with a 12-mile-per-hour wind speed. That's all I have for First Look. Back to you both at the desk.
Thanks, Aaron. A man whose dog was found tied to a post in the path of Hurricane Milton has been arrested on animal cruelty charges. This video shared by the Florida Department of Highway Safety shows how troopers found the dog as residents of Tampa were evacuating ahead of the storm. The former owner, identified as Giovanni Aldama Garcia, was released on Tuesday on a $2,500 bond. The dog, now known as Trooper, is at an animal shelter in Tallahassee and will be adopted eventually.
Today, President Biden canceled an additional $4.5 billion in student debt. The decision will impact more than 60,000 borrowers. The White House says this action brings the Biden-Harris administration's total student loan relief to $175 billion for nearly 5 million borrowers. This latest cancellation is part of President Biden's final efforts to fulfill his campaign pledge to deliver debt relief to millions before he leaves office. Many of those efforts have faced legal challenges and are still hung up in courts. Coming up, we have an update on the tragic death of former One Direction member Liam Payne.
And new evidence in a famous murder case could lead to big changes. We have the latest on the Menendez brothers ahead.
From the depths of ntTV studios, something special is brewing just for you.
Hey ghouls and goblins, ntTV News is having a special Halloween segment this October 31st. We're also covering 31 days of Halloween in Denton. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be spooktacular.
Looking to open a free checking or savings account but don't know where to start? Check out ntQ Credit Union right here on campus. Get your Mean Green debit card instantly or apply for a ntQ Visa credit card today. Your school, your card. Plus, make deposits at their 24/7 ATM, checks or cash whenever you need it. Make sure to sign up for ntQ's online banking platform and mobile app for easy access anytime, anywhere. Visit them at www.ntq.org to learn more. ntQ, the official financial institution of UNT Athletics.
Welcome back. After learning about the shocking death of One Direction member Liam Payne, fans flocked the streets to leave flowers, letters, posters, and candles. Argentine authority investigations have revealed some possible drug involvement and suspicious circumstances surrounding his three-story fall. The police say they found his room in disarray with many broken objects in his room and open bottles on tables. Lack of defensive injuries rules out any foul play in this case, said police. In recent years, Payne had acknowledged struggling with alcohol. Evidence collected at the scene suggested Payne was going through some kind of substance abuse episode. The official One Direction Instagram page posted today, sending thoughts to his family, friends, and fans who loved him. They say, in time, there will be more to say, but now they will grieve.
There are new developments in the Menendez brothers' case. Lyle and Eric Menendez were sentenced to life in prison in 1996 for the murders of their parents. Now, 30 years later, the case has gained renewed interest thanks to a Netflix documentary. And now the LA District Attorney has released evidence that could lead to a review of their sentences. CNN's Cheryl Hubbard has more.
Relatives of Lyle and Eric Menendez held a news conference in Los Angeles Wednesday with a Menendez defense attorney. The brothers are currently serving a life sentence for murdering their parents in 1989.
Like so many others, I struggled to process the events of that fateful August day and the loss that I felt. Over time, it became clear that there were two other victims there on that day.
The Menendez brothers claim they killed their parents in self-defense because their father physically and sexually abused them. Last year, lawyers for the brothers petitioned the court to review the case and to resentence the pair in light of new evidence. The LA District Attorney referenced a letter Eric Menendez allegedly wrote to his cousin decades ago, alluding to the alleged sexual abuse.
In their case, if it were tried today, the evidence of their father's abuse would not only be admitted in court, it would provide essential context for why they acted as they did.
The family argues that the jury might have reached a different verdict if it had this evidence. After the Menendez brothers' first widely publicized trial ended in a mistrial, they were convicted of murdering their parents at a second trial. Potential sexual abuse was brought up, but prosecutors argued the abuse didn't happen. Attorneys for the brothers say they also have a signed statement by another alleged victim.
He too was assaulted by the father, and not only assaulted, but it happened at the house.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
The Los Angeles District Attorney says his office is reviewing the new evidence. That has some family members upset. The Menendez brothers' uncle accused the DA of betraying the victims.
The city of Denton is undergoing major reconstruction, with the city looking to remove the Civic Center pool.
That idea is getting pushback from some Denton residents who want the pool to stay. Segment anchor Melanie Garcia is live in downtown Denton with the details on this situation. Melanie?
That's right. The Denton City Council approved the downtown Denton plan over a month ago, but city residents are pushing forward to save the historic pool. On Tuesday, the council heard a proposal by council member Brian Beck that could save the pool. He calls it, quote, a vital community resource, especially for lower income families who don't have the means to access the Northside Natatorium, end quote. On Facebook, residents created a new group called Friends of the Civic Center Pool. The overwhelming input is that the community wants to keep the pool at this location. This is not the first time the city has tried to move the architectural icon O'Neill Ford's projects. In the 1990s, council member Mike Cochran originated a symposium on Ford's work in Denton. It is not yet confirmed when the pitch to save the pool will be discussed in council meetings. However, there are several steps to be discussed in order for a committee to discuss it. That's all I have today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Melanie. As we make our way into the weekend tomorrow, I am so excited to keep enjoying this nice, cool weather.
Same here. I hope it stays with us, though I've heard that we're heating back up soon. So you should take advantage of it while you still can. Let's go over to our weather anchor, Aaron Erie, to get the full details on this weather. Aaron?
Thanks, Marshall. 70 is the place to be across North Texas as we take a look. As you can see, Decatur and Sherman both keep it a little, Decatur and Paris both keep it cool for us at 69, and then Graham is at 73, topping us out. But as we move into the state map, we get a little bit more variety. El Paso is the warmest at 77. Austin and Houston both sit at 74 and 75 collectively. But then up north in Oklahoma City, Denton, and Amarillo, we get 70 degrees. Then as we move into the 7-day forecast, we do see that the temperatures begin getting warmer progressively through the next 6 days. We'll top out on Wednesday at 90 degrees with a low of 62, and we will get some cloud cover Wednesday and Tuesday. That cloud cover is certainly what we're excited about because it means the fall temperatures are giving us a better idea of what this winter might look like. The National Weather Service released its projections for the season today. CNN's Maribel Gonzalez has the story.
This winter could look a little different than the last one.
Overall, we are expecting warmer than normal temperatures across the southern tier of the country.
Last year, the natural climate pattern known as El Niño, in addition to warming due to fossil fuel pollution, brought warmer winters in the south and cooler ones in the north, with less snow in much of the northeast and Midwest. This year, its counterpart, La Niña, could bring a warmer and drier south and a wetter north.
Above normal temperatures are more likely across the southern tier of the country, also northward along the eastern seaboard, with below normal temperatures favored for parts of the northern Rockies and northern plains.
But no two La Niña winters are the same, and their strength matters. The Climate Prediction Center forecasts this one to be a weaker event.
We would expect a more variable weather pattern. So you could go from warm and wet to cold and dry in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks.
And while El Niño and La Niña climate patterns help give us a good idea of what to expect, experts like Peter Goebel, climatologist at Colorado State University, says Mother Nature will have the ultimate say.
I like to use the analogy with El Niño, La Niña of it's like playing a game of cards or poker with a few extra aces in the deck, you might have an idea of how the deck is stacked, but it doesn't mean you know exactly what hand you're going to get.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Thanks, Aaron. The nice weather has people excited to get out and enjoy the final days of the State Fair of Texas. If you want to go but aren't sure how you'll get to the fair park, there are more options this year. ntTV's Lillian Kosh took a look at a brand new mode of transportation that will take you from Denton straight to the State Fair of Texas.
The Dallas-Fort Worth area is connected by multiple railways that can get you from city to city without having to hit the highway. The DCTA A train connects to the DART Green Line and leads straight to Fair Park, giving people of Denton an alternate route to the Texas State Fair.
We didn't really know what the parking situation was going to be like at the fair or how long it would take, if we'd be able to find spots, like if it was going to be expensive or not. And we knew that like getting to the train station would be easy and it was going to be like a fast and reliable way for us to get there.
When planning your next trip, GoPass can help you find a train stop closest to your location, and with a simple search of your destination, help you find a route that best fits your schedule.
Super easy. I just did it on my phone. It took like 1 second. Did it on the car ride over here.
So whether you're going for a corn dog or concert, you can have peace of mind knowing you don't have to battle state fair traffic to get there.
You have just a few more days to enjoy the fair. It wraps up this Sunday, October 20th.
Stay with us. We have a story on a slide park here in Denton that's celebrating its grand opening.
And we'll show you the new tools that some dating apps are using to help you find a match that fits your views.
Craving something fresh, flavorful, and made just for you? Look no further than Avesta, your go-to destination for a delicious, full-service dining experience. Dive into our customizable omelets, expertly crafted by our talented cook Jonathan, who guarantees every bite is perfection. All our dishes are handmade, prepared with only the freshest ingredients. Explore our assembly line where you can choose from any of our globally inspired dishes, or customize your plate. It's that easy. And let's not forget dessert. Indulge your sweet tooth with treats from Clark Bakery. With convenient payment methods including card or flex, it's the perfect dining spot for any occasion. Quench your thirst with our wide selection of drinks. Just hand your drinking card to our friendly waiter, and they'll bring your beverage of choice right to your table. When you're done savoring every last bite, our attentive staff will whisk away your tray. Enjoy the peaceful ambiance as you dine in, or use our takeout option for a meal on the go. Avesta.
Just a couple of hours ago, Denton's newest family attraction, a two-story indoor slide park, celebrated its grand opening. ntTV's Isabel Smith is there live with more.
Thank you, Grace. Slick City Action Park provides thrills for adrenaline junkies of all ages. And while it opened in August, Cumberland Youth and Family Services and the Denton Chamber of Commerce held a ribbon-cutting ceremony today at 4 p.m. Slick City has a few other locations across the country, but the Denton location is part of the company's expansion plans and is the first location in the greater Dallas area. The park is open until 8:30 on Sundays through Thursdays and even later on Fridays and Saturdays. Now, if you need me, I'm about to be spending the rest of my day riding all of these really cool slides, but as of right now, that's all for me. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Isabel. You could really work up an appetite playing out there, and if you're looking for a new place to eat afterwards, you can find delicious Indian cuisine at a food truck just minutes away from campus. ntTV's Hawanatu Sharif has a look.
Tucked away near the busy campus of the University of North Texas is a hidden gem for food lovers, the AHA food truck. Offering a taste of India to the heart of Denton, this truck has quickly become a favorite among students and locals.
When I came to the States, I came as a student, and one of the things I missed a lot was like home food, Indian food. When I came to Texas and I saw this university, I saw a lot of students coming to this university from our country. So I thought bringing home food to them would help my business and also help those kids who are missing Indian taste.
But for the owners of AHA Food Truck, it's not just about the food. When asked what they love most about their business, one of them shared what truly makes this truck special.
the ambience, and when I see students come here and hang out, sipping a chai and then eating food and creating that vibe of India, that is the most satisfied thing and one of the unique things that we have at our food truck. Few of the must-try foods at AHA food truck is chicken pakodi for non-veg lovers. You will die for it. And our authentic street-style chicken noodles and chicken fried rice. These are like all-time favorite for me.
Great. You can order from AHA Foods until 2 a.m. Monday through Friday and until 3 a.m. on Saturdays.
As Election Day approaches, you may be surprised to find that your preferred candidates may help you find your next date. Some of the most popular dating apps are now helping users match with potential partners based on their political beliefs. Last month, Tinder introduced profile stickers that allows users to share whether they will be voting in the election and what issues are important to them. In addition, OkCupid added new matching questions that focus on voting behavior, such as, are you voting, and what's the most important issue you're voting on in the election?
Now, I'm not much of a football guy myself, Grace, but I've heard UNT football has been on a roll lately.
I know. I have definitely heard that too. Let's take it over to our sports anchor, John Phillips, to hear more about the upcoming game this weekend.
That's right, you guys. UNT has a big game this weekend versus Memphis, and I'll have more on that and a women's soccer team's controversial branding decisions after the break.
This ever happened to you?
My bike! My bike is gone!
Stolen bikes are an epidemic sweeping college campuses across America.
What am I supposed to do?
It's quite simple. The We Mean Green Fund has partnered with the UNT Police Department to offer free bike locks to any UNT student with a bike. Just show up with your bike in tow and ask.
Now I'll never lose my bike ever again.
Enough worrying. Get your bike lock today.
Women's sports are rapidly growing, with leagues like the WNBA and NWSL adding multiple expansion teams in the coming years. But not every new team is successful, and yesterday we saw a prime example with the new Boston NWSL team's branding announcement. This new Boston team will be called Boss Nation FC, and what the owners are saying is an anagram of Bostonian. Although fans are not loving this, the name isn't even the biggest issue with the rebrand, as many are labeling their use of too many balls as their team website URL and in its hype video as transphobic and exclusionary to trans women. The website has already been removed, with that statement being released by the club. This past weekend, UNT's own Marvin Diaz-Vela took a trip to Hartford, Connecticut to talk with UNT's fighting game community. Let's hear more from Marvin.
The fighting game community is a unique and tight-knit group. Players from around the world gather at major tournaments like East Coast Throwdown, where high-stakes competition meets global talent. Majors like these offer qualification points for World Tour games like Guilty Gear Strive, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and King of Fighters 15, attracting the best of the best. With prize pools like Street Fighter 6 $5,000 bracket, these events are more than just games. They're serious competitions. So, what exactly is the FGC? Pro Tekken 8 player Ojin Trojan Porter and UNT FGC Club President Dorian Mega Dartbean Toussaint share what sets the fighting game community apart from other esports communities.
The FGC didn't really have all of the backing of it. It allowed people to create their own niche, environments and situations, and every different tournament or local has a very unique feel to it because it's normally, raised from the ground up.
A sense of community, we're all friends, Come to play games, chill out. I know some people are into the competitive side and want to be the best.
For Ojin Porter, the FGC was introduced through word of mouth about the DFW Tekken scene. Dorian Toussaint, on the other hand, was drawn to the idea of one player defeating another, similar to martial arts, which led him to fighting games. As for me, My first taste came from a Tekken 3 arcade machine at a Pizza Gaddy's. Lastly, I asked both players what advice would they provide to someone who is interested in the FGC.
To come as you are. The FGC is really about each individual person just coming and sharing their love with the game with other people, so you don't have to be anyone else.
Don't be afraid to try something new. Then eventually, you'll get stronger. So don't be discouraged whenever you come to the fighting game club. Trust me, you will get stronger and you won't even realize it.
Ready to mash some buttons? East Coast Throwdown isn't the only major tournament. Texas Showdown, happening March 28th through the 30th in Houston, is one to watch. Locally, Ogen Porter is hosting the 3rd anniversary of his tournament, Baddies, this Saturday, October 19th. Plus, UNT's FGC Club will host their next event on October 28th at the Business Leadership Building. Visit start.gg for more info.
UNT football is off to a 5-1 start, one of the best in modern history for our Mean Green. But this Saturday, they can reach bowl eligibility in 7 games for just the 2nd time since 1988, when they head to Tennessee to take on the Memphis Tigers. This year, UNT has been led by transfer quarterback Chandler Morris and their high-powered offense. But they'll face their toughest test yet. The Memphis defense is top 15 in the nation in points per game allowed, powered by All-American linebacker Chandler Martin. This Memphis game is the start of a murderer's row of games. Their next matchup is here in Denton against 4-2 Tulane, and then they'll host undefeated Army, which is ranked 23rd in the nation. But I have faith we can come out of the stretch at least 2-1, and that's going to start tonight with a win over Memphis. That's all I have for sports. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, John. A 37-year-old penguin at the Kansas City Zoo is thriving after receiving a big quality of life upgrade. CNN's Chandler Watkins has the story.
Bridget, she is a 37-year-old Gentoo. She is one of 3 of 37 that we have, so they're amongst the oldest in the country.
To put that into perspective, in the wild, penguins typically have a life expectancy of 15 years. Because of her age, Bridget began having spinal issues, which prevented her from preening her feathers to keep her warm and waterproof. So zookeepers designed Bridget a custom wetsuit, a first for this zoo. While it may take a second to put it on,
Bridget, she's a spicy old lady.
Whitney Gesloas, a senior care specialist at the zoo, says it's really helping.
She moves around really well. You can see she's able to move her wings up and down. She swims in it. There, she just got out. She'll walk and play in the snow in it, so she's able to be very mobile in it.
The zoo posted several photos of Bridget in her wetsuit, enjoying the snow and life with all the other penguins at the zoo.
All these penguins are very special to all of us, so we do our very best for each individual case.
I didn't know I needed to see a penguin in a wetsuit, but that was the cutest thing I've seen all day.
I know, that was definitely such a heartwarming story.
Thank you for joining us on ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again next week here on North Texas Television. Period.